হেল্ল' ডিয়াৰ ষ্টুডেণ্টছ আজি আমি ইংলিছৰ যিটো ফাৰ্ষ্ট চেপ্টাৰ হয় এ লেটাৰ টু গড সেই চেপ্টাৰটো আজি আমি এটা ৰাফ ৰিডিং দিম যাতে তোমালোকৰ এটা ৰাফ আইডিয়া হয় যে এই ষ্টৰিটো একচুৱেলি হয় কি চ' তোমালোকৰ ক্লাছ 9ৰ এক্সামছ শেষ হ'ব এতিয়া আৰু শেষ হোৱাৰ পাছতে শ্ল' এণ্ড ষ্টেডিলি তোমালোকে পঢ়া ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰি দিবা বিকজ যিমান সোনকালৰ পৰা তোমালোকে পঢ়া ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰা তো ফাইনেল এক্সামছলৈ তোমালোকৰ প্ৰেছাৰ বা ষ্ট্ৰেছটো কমি থাকিব আৰু তোমালোকে উইদাউট টেকিং এনি টেনশ্যন আৰু ষ্ট্ৰেছ ফাইনেল এক্সামছত ভালকৈ এক্সাম দিব পাৰিবা চ' আফটাৰ ইয়ৰ এক্সামছ ক্লাছ 9ৰ এক্সামছ শেষ হোৱাৰ পাছত উইদাউট এনি ডিলে তোমালোকে লাহে ধীৰে পঢ়া ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰিবা চ' আজি আমি ফাৰ্ষ্ট চেপ্টাৰটো এটা ৰাফ ৰিডিং দিম এ লেটাৰ টু গড তো কি কৈছে চোৱা The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. From this height, one could see the river and a field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour, or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lancho, who knew his field intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Now we were really going to get some water, woman. The woman who was preparing supper replied, Yes, God willing. The older boys were walking in the field, while the smaller ones were playing near the house, until the woman called to them all, Come for dinner. It was during the meal that, just as Lancho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. The air was fresh and sweet. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed, These are not raindrops falling from the sky, they are new coins. The big drops are 10-cent pieces, and the little ones are 5. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corns with its flower, dapped in a curtain of rain. But suddenly a strong rain wind but suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. This truly did resemble new silver coins. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. It's really getting bad now, exclaimed the man. I hope it passes quickly. It didn't pass quickly. For an hour the hail rained on the For an hour the hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillsides, the cornfield, on the whole valley. The valley was white as if covered with salt. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lanzo's soul was filled with sadness. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his son, A plague of locust would have left more than this. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn. That night was a sorrowful one. All our work for nothing. There's no one who can help us. We will all go hungry this year. But in the heart of all who lived in the solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope, help from God. Do not be so upset, even though this seems like a total loss. Remember, no one dies of hunger. That's what they say. No one dies of hunger. All through the night, Lanzo thought only of his one hope, the help of God. Whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience. Lanzo was an ox of a man walking like an animal in the fields, but still he knew how to write. The following Sunday at daybreak, he began to write a letter which he himself would carry to the town and place in the mail. It was nothing less than a letter to God. God, he wrote, if you do not help me, my family and I will go hungry. This year, I need 100 peso in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes. Because the hailstorm. He wrote to God on the envelope, put the letter inside, and still troubled, went to town. At the post office, he placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. One of the employees who was a postman and also helped at the post office went to his boss laughing heartily and showed him the letter to God. Never in his career as a postman had he known that address. The postmaster, a fat, amiable fellow, also broke out laughing. But almost immediately he turned serious and, tapping the letter on his desk, commented, what fate! I wish I had the fate of the man who wrote this letter, starting up a correspondence with God. So, in order not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came up with an idea. Answer the letter, but when he opened it, it was evident that to answer it, he needed something more than goodwill, ink, and paper. But he stuck to his resolution. He asked for money from his employees. He himself gave part of his salary, and several friends of his were obliged to give something for an act of charity. It was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos. So he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half. He put the money in an envelope addressed to Lanzo and with it a letter containing only a single word as a signature, God. The following Sunday, Lancho came a bit earlier than usual to ask if there was a letter for him. It was the postman himself who handed the letter to him, while the postmaster, experiencing the contentment of a man who has performed a good deed, looked on from his office. Lancho showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money, such was his confidence, but he became angry when he counted the money. God couldn't have made a mistake, nor could he have denied Lanzo what he had requested. Immediately, Lancho went up to the window to ask for paper and ink. On the public writing table, he started to write, with much wrinkling of his eye, with his brows, caused by the effort he had to make to express his ideas. When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp, which he licked and then affixed to the envelope with a blow of his fist. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it. It said, God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. But do not send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Lancho. So, this is a rough reading of the story or the chapter, you can say. So, আমি আমাৰ নেক্সট ক্লাছত এই চেপ্টাৰটোৰ চামাৰী বিষয়ে আমি পঢ়িম. I will give a summary of this chapter to you. So, তোমালোকে এই চেপ্টাৰটো এটা ৰাফ ৰিডিং দি থবা ঘৰত. That's all for today. Thank you, and do subscribe to our channel.